And now, Beth Shelburne, R.D. Saul. This is the News at 9.
And later this half hour, breathing new life into a lifelong passion in Holden, Massachusetts.
Because you're paralyzed, your life doesn't end. Your hobby is model railroading, you can still be a model railroader.
Fulfilling a dream this holiday with the help of a few friends.
Now, tonight's cover story on NECN.
Many kids, no doubt, spent today playing with train sets under the Christmas tree. In Holden, Massachusetts, the rails are rumbling again on a legendary model train layout that spent years in storage. It's a story of restoration and rejuvenation of the trains and of one man's spirit. NECN's Leslie Gatos has our cover story.
This is the realization of a dream for Jim Deignan, who has loved trains since he was a little boy.
My first train set, Christmas, probably I was 7 or 8, and it was a Lionel train set. And I remember opening it and just screaming, oh my God, this is what I wanted. I couldn't believe it. It was, I still have it to this day.
This 340-square-foot model train layout in his basement was a mess when he found it on eBay, hauled it from Florida, and stashed it in the garage to restore someday. Someday came sooner than expected when Jim was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident in 2003.
Through the support of friends and family, you realize that you're lucky to be alive, and it's a great thing. And once I settled back in, I started looking for things to do, and not realizing that I couldn't rebuild the train myself. That's when I started looking for somebody to do it for me.
Not an easy task, but he found model railroader Scott Mason.
Some of my model railroad friends asked me if I was just absolutely crazy for taking this on. And I looked at it like it was a challenge. I knew that if I could do this, I could pretty much do anything in this hobby. But more importantly, when I got to know Jimmy and understood his situation, the thought that just filled my head was, if something like this ever happened to me, I hoped someone else would step up and be able to help me enjoy my hobby.
It was an enormous job. Moving it was one of the biggest challenges. Each section weighs about 100 pounds. In the end, it took Scott about 1,000 man-hours to complete. But this isn't any ordinary railroad layout.
It was probably one of the most famous project layouts ever built for Model Railroader magazine back in the early 90s, and the gentleman who built it is considered to be the most famous model railroader in the hobby. So to be able to come in and work on something that his hands had touched meant a lot to me, and to be able to work alongside him at one point in this project was also a lot of fun. It was a very educational experience for me.
The layout was in such bad condition that in many places the tracks and buildings had to be completely replaced. The scenery isn't exactly as it was originally designed, but it's very close.
We had to make it ADA compliant for him, and the main two features was the height of the benchwork, which is lower than the standard used for most model railroads, and the width of the aisles. Jimmy had to be able to get into the aisles with his wheelchair, and he had to be able to turn his wheelchair and get back out. I
didn't see it until the day it was delivered, and once again, like when I was 11, it was like that Christmas morning when you just, I was ecstatic, well beyond my wildest dreams.
The Pennsylvania Railroad Middle Division replica is set in the mid-50s in central Pennsylvania. It originally appeared in 9 issues of Model Railroader magazine in 1993.
I spend a lot of time down here. It's very relaxing to come here. The layout's not done. There's a lot of things still to be finished, but I can still come down here and operate 2 or 3 trains, and it's just peaceful and relaxing.
This has also launched a business for Jim. He began selling the kits to make the structures on the layout and is now the largest craftsman kit reseller in the country.
It's good to know that, you'd think that, geez, just because you're paralyzed, your life doesn't end. Your hobby is model railroading, you can still be a model railroader.
When you come here and you get to see him
racing the trains around and enjoying this. How does that make you feel?
It's incredible. Short of seeing him stand up and walk, it's the happiest feeling I get.
In Holden, Massachusetts, Leslie Gatus, NECN.